Toss and turn, candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. Four walls just staring at a nigga. I'm paranoid, sleeping with my finger on the trigger. My mother's always stressing I ain't living right, but I ain't going out without a fight. See, every time my eyes close, I start sweating and blood starts coming out my nose. There's somebody watching the act, but I don't know who it is, so I'm watching my back.
Topic today is mental health.
I make big money, I drive big cars.
Hey, how y'all doing today? This evening, this is 365 Never Ending Fight, podcast, Health Talk. My name is D'Angelo. I am the host, and my guest today is the founder of Healing Connections. I'm gonna let her introduce herself.
All right. Hello, my name is Charmaine. I go by the name of Charmaine, and I founded Healing Connections about a year ago. And the reason why I chose the name Healing Connections is because, for one, I love working within my community. And I realized that in our community, we lack the bridges that help us connect what we necessarily need in order to heal, whether it's physically, emotionally, economically. And so for me, a part of my mission is to help people bridge those gaps, which is part of healing connections, in order to help themselves thrive and become more effective individuals and live out the best life that they can live. Living the best life.
Dude, I gotta say that. Well, this show right here, we are speaking on mental health and chronic illness. We're speaking on how a chronic illness can affect your mental health, right? So, I have one first question is, what is mental health? How would you?
Mental health, man, like I tell my clients all the time, if you get cut, you have a deep cut or a severe injury or something is happening with you from a physical ailment, you're either going to go to the ER, you're going to schedule your appointment with your primary physician, you're going to find yourself in somebody's table to talk about whatever issue it is that you may be having. When it comes to the mental health, it's like a silent ailment that happens. And so we speak on the mental, the mind, the things that we keep hidden in our memories and with our emotions. And so mental health is all about taking care of that part of you, the psyche part, the mind, the part of the mind, healing of the mind. I guess that's a good way to say it.
Gotta say that. So, question: what are some signs that a person dealing with a chronic illness will, what would show first, or I wouldn't even say first. What would show? What would be some of the mental health signs that occur with somebody who's dealing with a chronic pain, chronic illness?
Ooh, well, first off, having a chronic illness is a stressor within itself. It can be not only life altering or life changing, but it can also just cause a lot of like physical, emotional stress. And so what I'm finding that I'm tending to see more often are like symptoms of depression or symptoms of anxiety. Now, having symptoms and having a diagnosis are two totally different things. Let me just clarify that. But when a person presents with symptoms, that just basically means that some things are present. It's not labeling. It's just basically identifying what is happening to you, but it's not labeling you with a mental health diagnosis. That can come later on if that is the fact, to the point to where these symptoms are impacting your life on a daily basis and you kind of cross over to that line to a whole nother realm, to where it impacts every aspect of your life. Then that's when, you and your physician may consider it being a mental health diagnosis. Now, as far as having the symptoms, you may have a couple days where you're down, but it's not lasting that long. But how about those past couple days you were really depressed, but you ended up being late for work, you know, or you ended up snapping on your family, so it caused some family discord, or the anxiety was on a high and you were unable to function for that moment or for that day. It just causes like little speckles that still can have a huge impact on your life, definitely.
Okay. Like I said on this with 365 Never in a Fight, this is a sickle cell uh, base foundation. So we're going to discuss sickle cell and mental health. That way we can kind of compare, using me as an example of some of my mental health hurdles and curveballs that's been thrown my way while battling sickle cell anemia. So for first off, let's tap into the depression first. I'm gonna speak from a situation. I just want to give me your feedback and your opinion on how I was. Well, let me not say that. Let me just describe it first. For example,
Okay.
depression. A couple of years ago, um, you know, I was at a point in my life where I really didn't pay myself any attention. I was consumed with my sons and their lifestyle. Closet full of clothes, jewelry, the whole nine. I was always known to, throw a little something on and go out to enjoy myself. But over the years, I found myself in this slump where all I wore was tube socks, basketball shorts, and a cut off t shirt. And I would wear this to meetings at my son's school, right? So I really didn't care nothing about my haircut. Didn't care not really too much about me at that point. I would consider myself in it. Well, actually, I thought my testosterone was low because I would find myself crying over things on TV that had nothing to do with nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is I'm crying watching Golden Girls and shit? Like,
Yeah.
like why is I'm crying over? So I'm thinking like that as I'm losing my man edge, like as I'm losing, is my testosterone at an all time low because I never been in a situation where I would cry at the drop of a hat. So I went to the doctor, and this is around by the time they took me off of OxyContin. I was on OxyContin 80s, and they took me off, but I ended up going to the doctor for my testosterone levels.
Yeah, yeah.
And they was asking me questions, and so they was asking things like, have your feet grew? Did you grow some extra hair on your legs or something like that? I'm like, well, no. I was just telling about me crying at odd times, just out the blue, watching random things on TV, right? So she said, well, D'Angelo, there's nothing. She said, nothing wrong with your testosterone.
Thank goodness.
She said you depressed.
Yeah.
So it kind of threw me a curve. I'm like, well, damn, like, okay, like, and it kind of made sense because all I did was sleep. Like my sons and them, they would get up and go to school around about 7. I'd wake up, go from my bedroom to the couch.
Yeah.
And I would sit there until they got out of school and wrestling, football, etc. kicked in, and that's when I turned on. Before then, I was in the couch, just sitting. So that depression, it was new to me. My question to you would be then, how could I identify my depression earlier, or could I? I probably couldn't. I don't know. And what are things that a person need to do when they find themselves in that headspace?
Right.
You know.
Well, let me first just say that no one is invincible to the symptoms that you have experienced. Sounds like you were going through a lot of changes at that time, for one. But let me break it down a little bit more. I always like to break things down to further help people understand like where depression really comes from, and where it comes from is a part. Well, there's multiple parts of the brain, but the hippocampus is where it pretty much starts. That's like the middle of our brain. Males have larger hippocampus versus females. However, with this, we store memories in our minds, but it also produces a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol, when released in our body, like if you get too much of it, it actually produces feelings of sadness. So this is probably why you were like, wait, I'm sitting here watching Golden Girls and I'm supposed to be this is supposed to be funny, but I'm crying.
Right, out the blue. Right.
Yeah. And so there will be moments like that. And that's what I mean. Like, no one is invincible when it comes to symptoms of depression. Kudos to you for going to get help, because not many men, being a black man, I will just say, like, not many black men are seeking therapy. I mean, the numbers are slowly rising, but you know, you definitely have paved the way for and set the example for other men to know, like, it's time for me to go and get some help because something isn't right. Okay. But the things that I'm hearing you say that you experience, for one, what you would look out for would be happy times. You're in that present moment and you know for a fact that you should be excited. You should be in an uplifting mood, but your mind just won't click. It just won't sit right. And you just have like that overwhelming feeling of sadness. You find that you're crying. And I mean, this is not like a produced crying, like somebody may have like stubbed your toe and ran you over or something like that, and you're upset about that. This is more of a unstoppable, like you're just basically just crying involuntarily, basically. Another symptom is, I'm hearing you say, is in the way that you dressed. You were lacking, sounds like you lack that motivation. You lack the motivation to uphold your appearance. Hygiene goes down the drain. Brushing your teeth or taking a bath sounds like a daunting task to do, where it's usually, for a healthy mind, that's something easy to do.
Right.
It's easy to get up in the morning, brush your teeth, have a nice routine, eat your breakfast, get on your clothes. You're motivated to get out the door. Whereas with depression, you don't think about that type of stuff. That is like the hardest thing for a person to do. And so when you find that you may have not showered in 2 or 3 days, or you may not have, combed your hair or went to the barber shop, or when was the last time you got off of the couch to go for a walk, or called your family to check in on your family, or even want to spend time with your family, or doing something nice for yourself. Those are all symptoms of depression. When you find that you are isolating yourself from the things that you love, hobbies go down the drain, the things that you enjoy doing, you don't find enjoyable anymore. Those are all some warning signs.
And you know what? Like I said, it was funny because before I made that move to where I was living in Mason, and when I was younger, it was different when I'm I'm living in Winter Terrace and all my close, my partners popping up, and I was more active. But it was like once I, got married and moved, out to Mason, it was like I was isolated, like so it was more like I didn't see a lot of close friends and family as much as I used to when I was accessible, being closer to the environment. So when I isolated myself, now I'm just focused on my marriage, which is perfectly fine and dandy. But, you need that outlet.
You absolutely do.
You need that outlet to, this is why it's crucial for people to do things for themselves and not, just be caught up in a relationship to the point where it's all about them and not about you.
That's right.
You have to do some self-care, some self-evaluation.
It's important to have that social aspect of your life.
Yeah, because if not, you can find yourself, deep down in a funk. Like, because I'm going to tell you, like I said, when they took me off of Oxycontin, and Oxycontin did play a part of my depression because that is a side effect from a narcotic.
Yeah.
So it's not saying it was just strictly sickle cell, but it was sickle cell mixed with the opiate.
Absolutely.
The Oxycontin 80.
Yeah.
Because what I did was I found myself, I wake up and, I pop a pill, I take my Percocet on my Oxycontin, then found myself, I take my kids to school, come back home, sit on that couch. And I wasn't on some real shit, on some real deal Holyfield, and just sit there and nod, go to sleep. I mean, I didn't do too much, I'll be honest. But when they took the Oxycontin from me, and it was a blessing in disguise, right? Because what I did, I went through withdrawal, right? That's a whole, beast within itself because I'm shaking, I'm shitting, and stomach fucked up. I'm in Kroger's and I realize why I'm shaking and sweating out the blue, and so hindsight 2020, I felt I was going through a withdrawal.
Yeah.
But once I went through that phase, and I came on the other side of that, then I started working out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to school, got my GED.
So you slowly start building yourself back up.
Right.
Yeah.
I start refocusing, and this is why it's crucial when I tell people when you I'm speaking from a chronic illness base right now. I'm speaking from sickle cell right now.
Yeah.
It's crucial for you to have somebody in your corner that's going to motivate you.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to recognize that, like, damn, this is my man, or this is my woman, or this is my child. I know that he or she moves in a different light.
Mm-hmm.
And when they see your light start to dim, they should be able to recognize that and pull you out. Try to help you pull you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not saying everybody, don't have that support, but I'm just saying, not even speaking from my situation, just speaking period. You need to have the right support around you when you're dealing with any kind of chronic illness. We're speaking about chronic illness right now. But you need that. But when I got off Oxycontin, like I said, I got back to it, started working out, got back to dressing again, got back to, went back to school, got my GED, went to trade school, working again. I was waking back up. Yeah, it was beautiful. Like, I felt like I was in that funk, like, but you're right, though. As far as, like I said, the key is why I tell people, man, just check on your health. Don't be scared to go to the doctor. Don't be afraid. You have to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
At some point in your life, you got to stop suffering in silence. You got to start, you know what I mean? And if you find yourself in the wrong situation, lack of help or lack of support, that might be a change you have to look into sooner than later down the line.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, once again, it's 365 Never Ending Fight Health Talk. We are discussing mental health. Let's kind of touch on anxiety.
Okay.
And chronic pain and chronic how a chronic illness can trigger or turn up your anxiety.
Wow.
What is anxiety? First off, I ask you.
When I think of the more I interacted with you, I think there was a few conversations that we've had in the past that really made me realize when we speak on anxiety, I speak from a trauma perspective. For one, I can't imagine what it would be like to have someone, I lost a wisdom tooth and I felt like I lost a huge part of me. Like something happened to me psychologically, that I had to really go through emotionally because it was a part of me that was taken out of my body. And so when I hear that these are like common things like hip replacement, shoulder replacement, joint replacements, and being at such a very young age and these things are happening, like that's traumatizing, And so with trauma brings anxiety. And what that typically looks like is like restlessness, fatigue, being keyed up, on edge, being irritated, angry. Oh man, like when I think about, trouble sleeping, insomnia, like if you've ever experienced anxiety, it brings along all of those different things. The muscle tension, when I speak on being keyed up, it's like constantly being on guard. In your mind, you're constantly waiting for something to happen. What's next? Am I gonna lose something else? What's another part that they're gonna have to go and operate on? And then that ties into fear of going to the doctor. They don't want to go in for their checkups because they don't want to hear what's going to happen next, or they don't want to know what the doctor has to say in regards to how the sickle cell anemia has deteriorated another part of their body. And so all of that can really cause a domino effect.
Yeah, like I said, that anxiety, it's a whole new beast. I never had anxiety before as I started. I give it would take 3 years ago now. I like to give an example, and the best way to give an example. First off, I imagine myself inviting anyone else to this platform and allow them to speak on their illness if I'm not going to speak on mine first. So I like to use myself as an example on all three of these topics for us: mental health and depression, anxiety, etc. But for anxiety, once again, when I was younger, like I said, I had no problem with anxiety. I was ripping and running, in the street, doing what I do at that time. But fast forward to my first anxiety attack, it was crazy. Like, oh my God, it was crazy.
What was it like?
2 years ago.
What did it feel like?
I'm about to tell you. 2 years ago, it was when I first moved back down. What did I say? 3 years ago, maybe. My father passed. My father passed. I walked in the bed. He in the bed. I had to do CPR, etc. Long story short, he passed. After that, my grandma passed. Walked into the house, see her sitting in a chair dead. After that, my son's grandmother passed. Walked in her house, she's laying on the floor dead. So now, okay, one more. My friend, Chiquita Barnes, rest in peace. Like, she passed, and she battled sickle cell. So I'm like, damn, man, everybody tapping on me. Like, everybody dying and shit. Like, I'm like, so all of a sudden, I was chilling, smoking a joint, sipping a Corona, talking with my cousin, and all of a sudden I got this urgent feeling over me. And I'm like, damn. I went in there, checked my blood pressure real quick. I'm like, damn, blood pressure, what's up? I'm like, damn, okay, I'm popping pills, popping shit. I'm like, what the... It felt like if I would have said, you're going to die, it felt like I would have did it right there. So I tell my cousin, man, take me to the hospital, man. Something going on. Take me to the hospital. Like,
yeah.
So we going to we riding. I felt so strange for so long. I say, fuck it. Stop by the ambulance, drop me off at the fire department right here on Hamilton.
Yeah.
So I pull up and I want to know, boom, they snatch me in there, boom, do the little thing. They thinking I'm on some heroin or some shit. Like, so they like, oh, you been taking this ABC? I'm like, nah. Tell them what my health issues are. So they rush me to the hospital. Check all my stuff. They kept me for like 4 days, and that's when I realized, like, damn, my anxiety kicked in, because I'm like, man, I live alone now.
Yeah.
I live alone, so it's like I have my health is changing, on the regular. So it's like, will I die alone in my own home? Like,
yeah.
So it was like that. So now I never had anxiety. It was crazy. Like, it was crazy. So now I'm thinking to myself, I have to recognize it, what it is, what's triggering it, why I'm in this headspace, what's going on.
Yeah.
So, just dealing with, you see everybody passing away around you, and okay, I got a chronic illness. Now we know everybody gonna got their due date.
Yeah.
Everybody gonna transition.
Yeah.
Right, and I know this, but for it to be on my forefront of my mental,
on your mind, yeah.
Excuse me, constantly. At that time, it was messing with me, like.
So
deeply.
would you say, like, your thought process was a trigger to you?
Yes, it was just me in my head.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always
usually that connection.
Yes. Like,
where your thought, it starts with a single thought, and then it trickles down to how your mind tricks your body into responding.
Yes, and that's what it did, because it started as a thought. Like, I'm like, damn, I just start thinking. My mind racing, and all of a sudden, by that time, now I'm locked in it.
Yeah.
I never did it before. I never did it. But so fast forward from that, it happened to me twice. Then I started. I'm always the type of person that is, whatever I deal with, I gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
So now it's time to figure out what it is, why it's happening, when it's happening, how do it feel when it's happening,
yeah,
and what do I need to do, because I can't keep running to the emergency room. That's not a way to live, on edge.
Yeah.
So what I did was I pinpointed it, so when I felt it come on, after that, I would pick up the phone and call somebody. I would grab I bought a dog purposely for that. My son was like, Daddy, you need to get you a dog. Like, you just me by myself. He's like, Dad, you need to get you a dog. And I did. And so when I found myself in that headspace, I would grab him, walk him. Walking, or I could pick up the phone, I would call my mom or my sister, a friend of mine. You know what I mean? So, but the catch-22 on that is, when I called the people, I didn't call them and say, I'm having an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
I need to talk.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I would call and say, hey, what's up?
You just start talking.
Start talking, but what if they not in the mood to talk?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of them conversations was, oh, let me call you back, baby. Well, let me call you back. Let me call you back. So when we hang up, I'm still locked in my head spinning.
Yeah.
So what I do now? So I call somebody else. They don't answer the phone. So I call somebody else. They answer the phone. And then I finally get in a conversation to where I can talk myself down.
Okay.
You know, so it's like, so that was a tactic that I used when I found myself getting into that headspace.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, it got too bad. It got so bad at one point was I had another incident, and all I kept thinking about was getting out the door. And I opened the door to my apartment and just had it open while putting on my shoes and shirt. Because my biggest fear was somebody walking there and me laying in that motherfucker tapped.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest fear, right? So I'm like, open the door. So I opened the door. So I said, whatever happens, somebody be able to find me. Like,
Yeah.
the door open.
Yeah.
Thank God did nothing transpire.
Wow, that's
but
like wow, like that being on your mind every day.
Yeah, I was dealing with that for quite some time.
Wow.
Like I was dealing with that for quite some time.
Yeah.
That first year and a half, I'm like, you know, it's not as bad now. But it's still there.
Yeah.
But I put things in play. Busyness is key too. You know, even with the podcast, you know, I tried to shoot one day. I was here by myself and I shot one, and I couldn't even finish it.
Yeah.
Because I'm speaking on sickle cell and the triggers and the health complications to the point where I had an anxiety attack where I had to stop filming and leave.
Yeah.
Couldn't finish. Like, so, you know, it's deep. You know, it's just, I know anybody who's dealing with a chronic illness, this is why I say, man, you need some type of support. You need some type of therapy. You need some type of life coach. You need some tangible, what's what I'm looking for? You need some tangible services that truly help you and not just talk. Not just somebody just saying, oh, man, you need me, call me. Like,
absolutely.
Then when I call you, tell me, oh, man, call me back. Like,
yeah.
So that's why I tell anybody who dealing with any kind of chronic pain, find somebody. If it ain't 365 Never Ending Fight or Healing Connections, find somebody. You need somebody. You cannot. It's like I always say, the fight of your life will take some coaching. But
yeah,
you know, anxiety. You know, it's at an all-time high. Just dealing with sickle cell. You know, with people who, you know, they pass away. And anybody that passed away from the same illness you battle, your mind gonna play some tricks.
Oh yeah, I can see the connection with that. Definitely, how you wonder if is that gonna be me? Is that how I'm gonna end up? It's not to compare to when you lose a family member, but you know, it's like that anxiety that a lot of people experience where when they say death comes in threes, and it's like that apprehension of who's going to be next, you know. Whereas I'm hearing with what you're saying, when you see a close friend or a friend who also has sickle cell anemia, if they pass, that makes you wonder.
Yeah, right back ain't cheating.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but
how do you counteract that?
Well, it's crazy. I'm glad you asked that question, because even talking about death, I mean, this is a short topic. We're looking to move forward from this, but even talking about death, I can't talk about it too long. And it's sometimes, you know, you get some of your friends pop up, and or somebody pop up, oh man, such and such died today. You know, I'd be like, man, okay, that's sad. You know, it's fucked up. Woo, woo. And I gotta leave it there.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. It ain't about going to emergency, not emergency room, funerals, just for any Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Right.
Like, you know, if I go to somebody's funeral, I really had to fuck with you.
Yeah.
Hands down, because it's gonna trigger me. I'm not going to just, you know, you get some people just go to the funeral because they ain't got nothing to do. They want to see, you know, who they ain't seen in a while, and all the shenanigans that come with that, you know, that type of stuff. But I can no longer talk about death too long. I cannot talk about health issues that transpire into something deeper. I can't dwell in that too long.
So it's like an elephant in the room for you.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Kind of, sort of. I mean, you know. Well, first off, what you mean by elephant in the room?
Well, when I say an elephant in the room, when we think of an elephant in the room, it's like it's obviously there, right? But we just walk around it, pretend it's not there.
Yes, you're 100% right. It's just, you know, as I would call it, transitioning would be the elephant in the room. But we know we all have to transition. The question thing is, I have to, like, power is in the words, right? I have to tell myself, thank God for waking me up. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, because I have to tell myself, you know, I'm going to live to be 90 plus. I have to tell myself this on a regular.
Speak it.
You know, when I was younger, you know, I used to tell, oh man, you know, everybody talk that depth, you know, woo, woo, woo. Like now, no, I have to speak true positivity and surround myself around positivity and try not to dwell on the conversations that I know that triggers me. And you know, at the same, which is kind of hard because you got close friends and family and loved ones who has, you know, look at me as support too.
Yeah.
You know, my partner just lost his father, right? You know, we were talking about it today. He just lost his father. He had his father in his he got a chain with his father's picture on it.
Yeah.
And it's like a little urn. His
Yeah.
ashes is in there.
Okay.
So I can't be like, oh man, I don't want to hear that. You know,
Right.
so what I would do is for him, you know, what I would do is I would set aside my insecurities
Mhm.
and my fears for him so he can grieve. And I could
Yeah.
be that support system for him.
Yeah.
So now, but while I'm doing so, I'm constantly in my own head, fine tuning my insecurities as he speak on them. Like, you know.
So would you
So-
say that's an opportunity for healing for you?
It is because I have to be able to muscle through that shit.
Yeah.
Like it is because you know I have to be able to muscle through it. I have to realize that God got me. My faith. You see, I have a shirt in the corner over there, and it say faith and fear.
Mhm.
And some people look at that shirt like, how can you have faith and fear?
Yeah.
I say, well, I'm human. I say because you know, hey, I mean, you know, there's no, you know, dealing with a chronic pain, with a chronic illness, you know, you're gonna have both. You know, ain't no way around it. It's not meant for everybody to understand. I do have faith, but sometimes, you know, I fight sickle cell day in and day out, and I do respect that. You know, and I know the reality of that.
Yeah.
But you know, anxiety, man. That's why I tell y'all, man. For the adults, man, y'all out there, man, y'all dealing with something like that, man. It's crucial for y'all to get that extra help. It's crucial for you to acknowledge it. You know, sometimes we gotta acknowledge the shit. Like, you know, sometimes they, you know, being blind to the fact. And I ain't saying run down the street with it on your T-shirt with an arrow point back at you. You know what I mean? I'm just saying acknowledge it, seek help, and deal with it, and move on because it
True.
will
Facts.
it will stunt your growth.
Yes, it will.
It will slow down your progress. So you know, but like I said, once again, it's 365 Never in a Fight. We're here with Healing Connections, the founder, Charmaine. You know, like I said, moving right along. PTSD, you know, it's another thing that's
Similar to
sickle
the
cell.
anxiety.
Similar to anxiety.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess to say that.
Yeah.
I guess to say that. I had PTSD earlier.
Yeah.
My PTSD didn't even come. The PTSD that I deal with started in winters. It started from a child.
From the bricks.
Yeah, it started late. I didn't even socialize sickle cell with my PTSD and
Yeah.
vice versa. My PTS came in seeing, you know, being robbed at 13 at gunpoint.
Yeah.
You know, my PTS came in, you know, drive-bys and three people around you get shot. And,
Yeah.
You know,
So
you
your
know.
cup was already full by the time
Yeah.
you really start dealing with a lot of the other things that you
Health.
had to deal with health-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you hadn't even resolved any of those issues.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I had dreams of me getting hit in the head quite a few times.
Wow.
And I'm talking 22 years old at this time.
Yeah.
You know, but it's crazy because I had the dream of me getting shot, and fast forward so much later, I almost got shot in that drive-by that was back in the day. And after that situation happened, I didn't have to dream no more, which was creepy as hell. Like, but then PTSD kicked back in. You know, with PTSD and sickle cell, I mean PTSD. My doctor and them called me a hypochondriac, and I don't see nothing wrong with it because you can't help but be a hypochondriac if you're dealing with a chronic illness that's constantly throwing a monkey wrench in your program with a hip
Yeah.
replacement, stroke, heart attack, loss of sight.
Yeah.
So my PTSD kicked in extreme. So now, which I think is kind of a good thing because I will go see about myself. You know, so I don't look at that as too much bad. I am paranoid a little bit, which is it's not too bad because
Where does the paranoia come from? Let's be a little more.
specific.
Yeah, tell me a little more about that. What would that look like?
My
being
paranoia with sickle cell, where that
Yeah.
comes from. My paranoia just come from me going to sleep and waking up different.
Yeah.
You know, you can go to sleep, wake up night and day.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
you've experienced that,
Yeah.
and so you could definitely speak on
Yeah.
that. And
Go to
that's
sleep, wake up, call a 911 because you have pneumonia in both your lungs.
yeah,
Go to sleep, wake up, think you got a hair in your eye, come to find out you're losing your eyesight.
yeah,
You know, go to sleep, wake up, can't walk. So sometimes you be like, damn, why go to sleep? I'm gonna stay up as long as I can, like, you know what I
because you
mean?
don't know how you're gonna.
Right.
The mind is so powerful.
Oh, it's a deep. I would lose.
Mine's
Knock on
very
wood.
powerful.
I would lose a limb before I want to lose anything in my mind. I don't
Yeah.
want. I don't want to lose. That's what I don't want to do. But your mind do play tricks on you, you know, drastically. Before it's peace. So what are different things that? What are a few exercises that you can suggest to the viewers? Speaking for any chronic pain, but we're talking for sickle cell. Give me an exercise for each one. You know, for each one, depression, anxiety, or PTSD. Is there an exercise that people can do?
There's actually a lot of exercises, and the two actually go hand in hand. One, most importantly, make sure you have a huge support system. When I speak on support, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a long list of people that you can call, if that is the case for you. Utilizing your community resources. If you have a case manager or coworkers or, support groups, NAMI is full of support groups for whatever ailment that you would like to focus on, whether it's depression or anxiety, or if you do have a co-occurring disorder, excuse me, they assist with that, such as if you have bipolar, schizophrenia, they have support groups for that. There's a support group for everything. Let me just say that. One of the exercises that I used to love doing with my group a while back ago was they would pick. I would have them each time I would end a group, and they would have to each go around and reach their hand into a box, and they would actually pull out an activity that they would have to do for the week. Whether it be going for a walk in the park, a mindfulness walk. Those are awesome, by the way. Whether it's hot, cold, raining, whatever the case may be, mindfulness walk usually does the trick. Or going out to sightsee, going to the zoo, spending time with family, exercising, trying out a new hobby or a new activity, saying yes to a lot of things. If you have people that are inviting you and trying to pull you off of that couch, sometimes it's not happening by accident. They probably noticed something about you, and rather just saying, hey, looks like you've been in the house and isolated a little bit too long. How about you come out? No, sometimes people reach out to you and say, what's going on? Why don't you come over my house and hang out? They're not
Right.
being weird, They probably just noticed something is happening with you, and they want to pull you out of your element. So this is why I say yes to the most healthy, positive things, of course. I don't want you to say yes to things that are going to take you down a path that you don't want to go down. But I love doing the megahertz on YouTube,
Yes.
playing those. Oh man, those are like amazing. Whether you are dealing with anxiety or you are dealing with depression, that will pull you out of it. And they have different levels of megahertz. The lowest is in the 600s and the highest is in the 700s. But the lower the frequency will tap more into the emotions, and then higher the frequency will help tap into like the physical ailments that anxiety can bring on. I love the megahertz. That's like usually my go-to when I find that I'm having a stressful week, or winters are like really rough for me because the sun isn't out as much,
Right.
and I really struggle with, symptoms of depression sometimes. And so what I typically do, especially when anxiety happens, for me is I'll play that megahertz and I will go to sleep to it. I'll have it on my playlist because it works. It helps me put myself in like a better mindset. What are some other things? Like spending time with your family. You know, it's something about tapping into your tribe. When you tap into your tribe, whatever or whomever your tribe may be, when you tap into them and spend that time, it's something about that time that you spend together that just helps you feel complete. And so, calling your mom, calling your dad, or calling whomever that special person in your family, that designated person may be, and spend some time with them on the phone or spend some time with them via video because this COVID happening, or you have, some family that live long distance. So, just getting creative with that.
You know what? Just to touch on the frequency, right? Because that's one of the things that I learned when I first started dealing with my anxiety. That was one of the things I started research. I'm a firm believer. Anything that I fight, I have to know about.
Yeah.
And I have to know what ways can I, combat this issue. Which ways I can fight back.
Yeah.
Besides medication. Because when I went to speak with my therapist, that's how should I say? She worked at the hospital, the clinic I go to for sickle cell. And they like to, first thing, medication. And medication may work for some, but, I'm a firm believer, let me try my way first.
Yeah, you want to try the holistic approach first.
Yes, and that's one thing I tapped into was the frequency therapy. Frequency therapy, hot bath mixed with some aromatherapy. And I even tapped into my gospel music.
Yeah, relaxes the mind. And believe it or not, gospel music actually carries a lot of the megahertz frequency on that lower end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me,
that's a whole nother topic within itself.
Yeah.
But it's an art behind the music.
Just to tap in there a little bit, because someone asked me, about the frequency therapy when I suggested to them, and I was like, the frequency therapy. I say, think about a song, right? I say, think about a song. You can listen to a song, and that song could put you in a headspace. It can make you reminisce. It could hype you up. It could bring you down. It can make you angry. It can make you sad, right? I say, your heart is an EKG. When you get EKG, that's frequency on that paper.
Yeah.
When them lines go up and down, that's frequency.
Yeah.
That's frequency therapy. Your heart and your blood and the electrons that's in your blood, that's all that is frequency. So when you look at your EKG, that's a frequency. You're reading your hertz.
Yeah.
The rhythm of your heart. So, that's why I was telling, like I said, that's how I knew, for it to help with me. Like I said, I do a lot of things, teas and different things like that.
Gotta have the tea. Cannot forget about that.
Gotta have the tea, lavender, different smells.
Yeah.
But that's what I use to this day, and I swear by
lighting candles. I mean, incense. Just that aromatherapy, all of that ties into it. Even when you're sipping your tea, and there's certain aromas that come from the different herbs that go into your tea, whether it's a loose leaf tea that you made yourself or a tea that you found in the store. Definitely, I highly recommend. What I call it's a coping skill toolbox. This is what I tell my clients that, they are creating from the moment they start working with me. We start by, well, what do you already know? What are some things you already know? And they'll say, well, I've done that before, but it just didn't quite work. And I said, well, it may not work right now, so we'll just put it in the box. And you've mastered using it, but we found that it doesn't work for that moment. But you may find that deep breathing wasn't your case or what was helpful for you in that time. But guess what? Deep breathing, you may pull out of that box again, your coping skill toolbox, and find that it may work for you just in that moment.
Yeah.
Being mindful. When I remember being in grocery stores, and I would get so anxious when the lines were really long. And one of the things that used to help me was a mindfulness activity. And that's like looking around the store and spotting how many quick weaves I could find. Or looking around the store. It's distraction. Looking around the store and seeing how many, blue things I could find, or how many, just whatever common things that you could definitely find. But, it's a distraction, and you can do that in your own home, like looking around your home and seeing how many different things that you can definitely find.
Yeah, but like I said, distraction is very helpful. Is key. That's why I say you just have to stay busy, man. But that's why I say, at 365 Never Ending Fight Foundation. Like I said, that this is why that it was so important for, you know, you are the missing piece. Our collaboration, our partnership is beautiful because, you know, when people see the logo,
Yeah.
they look at the logo, they see the boxing glove, they see, you know, it's a fight. And it's a fight to know your opponent. It's a fight to know the chronic illness you deal with. We educate the chronic illness. You know, like I said, we do a lot of life coaching. My slogan, once again, is say the fight of your life would take some coaching.
Yeah.
But the main is not just coaching, though, that we need. We need
Yeah.
somebody to, all your thoughts, you need somebody to sit down with and, help find the source of your thought.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I'm a life coach, you're a therapist, and this is why I think our collaboration is beautiful and is much needed. And I love that
Yeah.
sickle cell patients, with any other chronic illness, but I'm speaking from sickle cell today,
Mhm.
because this is what it's founded on. I think it's crucial for sickle cell patients to have that other element
Yeah.
when it comes to their treatment. Like I said, it's like you said, it's like you have a toolbox of coping skills. You need a toolbox of um, entities in the community, such as life coach, therapy, your doctor, your med peas, your eye
Absolutely.
doctor. You know you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So these are the pieces to the puzzle. Like I said, to your healthcare. This is your arsenal,
Yeah.
as I would call it. So like I said, that's why it was crucial for us to team up and, you know, tackle this problem head to head.
Yeah.
Like I said, because, you know, for as a life coach, to me, and my definition of a life coach is someone who's gonna hold you accountable, you know, for the things you do in your life. You know, we're gonna acknowledge it and label it and dissect it and see what parts you play and hold yourself accountable. In other words, look in the mirror and stop lying to yourself and,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, and just, you know, like I said, hold yourself accountable. But mixed with therapy, that's deeper and, you know, necessary.
Yeah. Exactly.
So what makes the life coaching and therapy in your eyes, in your opinion, why it's so important for the two,
Yeah.
you know, to go together?
You
Why would
know,
a patient need both?
the two can be very confusing for some people, which is definitely very important. Why, we should help people distinguish the two, because most people will be like, "I'm good. I got a life coach for that.
Right.
I'm okay." Right?
Right.
Whereas for a life coach, like, you guys basically work on the external portions of an individual, whereas a mental health therapist, like, we work on the internal portions of that individual, right?
Yes.
And so for you, like, you may focus on coaching and planning for the future, you know. Like, okay, so you're here, but what about later? You
Right.
know, what about your education? What about school? What's going to happen to you once you finish school, and to help that person meet those goals to where they're aligned with whatever their future goal may be. I know a huge part of your program, which is the Contender program, which is one of my favorite parts of the program, is because it sets them up for success. You know, it gets them thinking about, what happens now? What happens to my future now? Whereas for therapy, we will focus on, like,
But go ahead, Charmaine. What you were saying again?
All right, so with coaching, you focus on planning for the future and ways that you can enhance yourself. Whereas for therapy, it would focus more on, like, healing internally, focusing on what those barriers are that keep you from reaching your goals. Maybe it could be the anxiety, maybe it could be the ruminative thought that you're experiencing. And so with therapy, that'll help you resolve those issues. And then also, again, just dealing with the higher self. Like, life coaching helps with you making progress towards you reaching and obtaining a higher sense of self. Whereas with therapy, work on more of, like, the unfinished business, more of the unfinished trauma, or the unfinished things that may have happened to you, the unresolved issues that you may be experiencing internally.
So what I'm hearing you saying in my words is just basically identifying, the source. I guess it's crucial to identify the source so you can move through it. You have to you have to be able to recognize it and know why. That's why I say therapy. Some people think therapy. I don't need to talk to nobody. Like you was just saying. I got a life coach. I got a friend. I talk to such and such.
It's not the same.
I was night and day because at the end of the day, you want somebody to give you 100% honest opinion. Help. Some people could be a little bit more. I don't want to hurt your feelings, man, and
It's unbiased.
Yes.
Well, this is why
Keyword.
ethically, being a licensed clinician, like I can't see family members, I can't see friends, I can't see anybody that I've had any type of like personal dealings with, because there's always going to be a bias behind it.
Right.
Like if I'm meeting with a relative, like something in the back of my mind is going to be like, I need to steer them to go this way versus them walking in their own path. It's going to be more based on how I would like for them to be, and that's not a healthy way to go. And so ethically, realistically, therapy never works out when you are. So it's like, I got my auntie that I can go to, and I could tell her everything. Well, guess what? Telling somebody everything and actually like unpacking your things and having a professional help you work through those things are totally, totally different. It is not the same.
And then, at the same time too, some people might not respect your angle because they know you.
Oh yeah.
They might, my auntie, or that's my friend. We go way back.
Yeah.
And, they might.
They'll begin to look at you differently.
Yeah.
You might say something. You might say something, and your auntie may have never thought that you thought that way.
Yeah.
Whereas in therapy, you're talking to a complete stranger. You can just let it all out. And guess what? We uphold confidentiality.
That's good.
The only time we have to break confidentiality, of course, is if the court mandated to do so, and yet and still we have a way of protecting you. And then on top of that, like the only way we break it is if you say you're going to go out and harm yourself or harm other people. But other than that, like if you just told us the most randomest thing it's going to come with no judgment, no bias, all professional. And like, what a great way to help you unpack all of those different things that are going on inside of your mind, and help you like sort through it without someone trying to steer you into going the way that they would like for you to go.
Right.
Or backfiring on you.
Or, then you don't have to worry about nobody regurgitating
Absolutely.
what you said, the back in your face, throw a curveball, But that's why I say 365 never in a fight. I'm very happy about our collaboration, our partnership. So I'm looking forward to the future. We're doing a lot of great things already.
Yeah. I do want to add though, if you are interested in services, you can look me up on Simple Practice. I am offering a sliding scale for those who may not be able to afford even just their co-payment on their insurance. And so right now I am not taking insurance. However, I am taking payment via sliding scale, and that platform, that is on a sliding scale platform. So be sure to look me up, check me out, and you can find out more information on how to have that. Sessions start as low as $30.
You hear it, can't beat it.
Cannot beat it.
So like I say, don't hesitate, reach out. She's a very talented therapist. Been doing it quite some time now. So like I said, 365, Never Ending Fight Foundation. We as a non-profit. Like I said, we got a lot of life coaching and therapy things going on over here.
Intertwined together. That's a beautiful combination.
Yes. One-stop shop. Like I said, we do a lot of things in here. But this tonight we were speaking on mental health and how chronic illness can trigger mental health complications.
Absolutely.
So once again, you can go to www.365neverendingfight.com to learn more about the organization, and you can visit Healing Connection. What you give them?
It's www.healing-connections.org.
There you go.
Make sure you put in that dash, that little line that go in
Yeah.
between the hyphenated.
Don't forget the dag, as you wouldn't find somebody else and not the right person. So
Yeah, it's gonna take you to somebody else.
yeah, so like I said, once again, we got a lot of great things coming up. We have a blood drive next month. Like I said, it's a fundraiser and a blood drive for those who want to donate blood. If you can't donate blood, you can make a donation. No donation is too small. You can go to my Cash App. As you can see, the Cash App is on the bottom of the screen. The website is on the bottom of the screen. So you want to make a donation. We are a nonprofit. We need the help from the community to support the community. So just learn a little bit more about what we're doing. If you're here at 365 Never Ending Fight event, do not hesitate to buy a ticket. I hear that the events are a ball of fun. So just come check us out. Once again, this is 365 Never Ending Fight, Health Talk podcast. And anybody want to come on and express, they journey of dealing with a chronic illness. That's what we do on this channel. We talks about all chronic illness, the trials and tribulations, the experience they have in the hospital, with the clinics, with the insurance companies, with the pharmacists, with it's a battle out there. Like I said, it's a constant battle, and you need support. And if you get anybody dealing with sickle cell, because a lot of sickle cell, my fellow patients, my fellow blood brothers and sisters that's dealing with sickle cell anemia, we like to suffer in silence. There's no reason to be silent. We have to speak up and speak out to get the help that we much need. Once again, this is 365 Never Ending Fight, Health Talk, and y'all have a nice one.
Good night.
Good night.